And now to Germany, a fascinating story. Is to deport two men born in Germany but with foreign parents. It's the first case in German legal history. The men are, one is a 27-year-old Algerian, another a 22-year-old Nigerian, were arrested last month on suspicion of planning a terror attack. A gun and a flag of the ISIS were found at their homes during police raids in the central city of Göttingen. The men have never been charged. You wouldn't get away with this in England, would you? Criminal proceedings were dropped because police never established whether the suspects planned to carry out an attack, but police did say the two men were, quote, dangerous. Lower Saxony Interior Minister Boris Pistorius said the deportations would take place as soon as possible, and certainly before mid-April. It's worth reminding you, of course, in Germany that these regional parliaments are far more autonomous than we have here in the UK. So let's just pretend that this was Worcestershire or something like this. Nothing like the same power. These are very, very powerful, these regional parliaments. The Interior Minister, or this Federal Areas Interior Minister, said discussions are underway with Algeria and Nigeria to facilitate this, and the two men will be subject to a lifelong re-entry ban preventing their return to Germany. It's unknown yet whether either will appeal the decision. Germany determines citizenship by the nationalities of one or both parents and also a person's place of birth. And it's worth reminding, as if you need reminding, that the country has been on the highest terror alert since the Berlin Christmas market massacre just before Christmas that left 12 dead and dozens injured. If you're interested, Göttingen is about as central as Germany as you can possibly get if you were to stick a pin in the middle of the country. So would the authorities ever be able to pull that off here? Joseph Kotrie-Monson is director of Mary Monson Solicitors firm on Fleet Street. They specialise in areas such as these and criminal cases. Joins me now. What would happen if the Home Office in the UK tried to bring this about? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Nick. That's an interesting question, and I think there are two issues that have been identified here rightly by yourself, one of which would be dealt with probably similarly in the UK, and another which certainly wouldn't. The first is that of residence. Now, if you are a resident in the UK, but you're here at the discretion of the Home Office, as these people were here essentially at the discretion, not being citizens, even though we might find that strange, and we'll go on to that later, given the fact that they were born in that country, then the reality is if the Home Office wants to deport you, it can. Of course, there are certain bars to deportation, in the same way that there are bars to extradition if you're going to suffer some kind of torture in the country you're being deported to or whatever. And of course there are human rights arguments, and I suspect this isn't the end of this story, because anyone who's read this story will have seen also that it hasn't been notified yet whether there are going to be appeals to higher courts. I'd probably bet that there is the money would be wasted.
We should both go to Ladbrokes, I sense, Joseph. Yes, we'd make a few quid here.
That will happen. Quite absolutely, Nick. Of course, there's the second issue, and that's probably one that we're probably all a little bit more sympathetic with, at least in respect of whether they should be deported, because these are people that in the UK, I think it's quite likely they would have qualified as citizens anyway, having been born here. They certainly probably don't regard themselves as Algerian or Nigerian. They may not even speak the language.
All of which makes the German actions even more intriguing, because it I assume is going to be against their will. Is it not also going to be against their much vaunted human rights?
Well, these are conversations you and I, Nick, have every so often about practicalities versus human rights and the extent to which they should be interfered with. I think that's probably right. Having said that, I think that we're all, especially given the fact, let's look at this, not convicted of any criminal offence. Okay, they had an ISIS flag at home. We all find that odious, of course, but, it's not something that would necessarily stand up in a criminal court as signs that you're going to commit a terrorist act. Of course, we've got to have a degree of sympathy, as you identify correctly, as far as Germany is concerned at the moment. They are in there is an understandable state of panic. We haven't suffered something like that in our country since those terrible London bombings, really,
yes.
which are becoming something of a memory. And I think we all remember just how how that type of incident really tears out the confidence of a nation and can really drive to the hearts of normal working people. And you know, it's easy for us to criticise.
I'm not. I think it's great.
Yeah. Well,
but then you would hardly be surprised to hear that, Joseph. Thank you, Joseph Kotrie-Monson. You're director of Mary Monson Solicitors firm on Fleet Street, specialising in these areas and other criminal cases. Samira, you're going to be the first caller in just a moment.